So these past couple of days, I've been going back and rewatching some of the greatest reviews ever posted about Doom Eternal. And while I do want to take a look at one of the reviews because I feel like that one flew under the radar, it's a true gem, but unfortunately, it was overshadowed by 21 Kiloton and Upper Echelon's wonderful masterpieces. In spirit of those bad reviews, I wanted to reflect on some of the best things about Eternal that are kind of underappreciated. They're things that over time, as you start playing and getting the groove of stuff, they become second nature, but other things you don't really realize until you're told. One of them specifically, it took a couple months after the DLC dropped for someone to tell me that was even a thing, and since I was someone that pretty much played the game exclusively since launch day and never realized that you can do that, that was mind-blowing to me. And so today, I wanted to do a very small list on some things that are underappreciated. If you have anything else you want to add to this, maybe help create a part 2. That is, of course, if you're even interested in seeing that, but let's get started on number 1, and that is the knockback system. And don't get me wrong, I hated this with a passion, and I still do. This is something that can very easily get you killed if you're not careful. It's something that can get your heart rate up. It can screw up your movement. Just 2 or 3 perfect knockbacks can be enough to end an Ultra Nightmare run, and just one of these at the perfect time can be the end of everything. And I hated this. As I just said, it's basically a massive disruption to your movement, your combat, your overall plan for whatever that arena is that you're taking on at the time. But it's a necessary one for 2 big reasons. How else would you be able to indicate the amount of damage that you're taking, and how else would you be able to appreciate the threat level of a specific demon? And it's also intertwined with 2 other things that we're going to talk about a little bit further in this video, which are demon positioning and demon priorities, meaning which demons you're gonna basically have to take out first and which demons can wait a little longer. But let's take a small look at what I mean here. A lot of my examples are going to be taken in at least the Super Gore-Ness Master level because I feel like that's the culmination of all the systems and all the things that I'm going to be talking about pushed up to 100. And in terms of the knockback system, look no further than the room where we got to fight a bunch of carcasses, some tentacles, and the buff totem. This is a room that can be cleared out very easily, but it's also a room that can be very easily overlooked. It's a room filled with demons that aren't really that big of a threat, considering carcasses are more support roles, and then you have tentacles that you just have to be aware of, and once they're taken out, then the threats are ultimately all gone. Assuming that you aren't just going to stay up on the top level and you actually want to move around in the bottom levels, then all you really have to do is meat hook from demon to demon, utilize the monkey bar, maybe even the jump pad that's in the area, and you should be good. Unless that is, of course, you end up getting hit by a fodder demon that somehow creeped up on your flank, and right in the middle of a meat hook, that hit from the fodder demon disengages your meat hook, and basically you're a sitting duck. It's one of those little things that pisses you off in the heat of the moment, but it makes you want to, A, in the future be more vigilant of all the crap that's around you and what you're doing in relation to the things that could potentially go awry, and B, always have a fucking backup plan, just in case. Because the last thing you want to do is go to meat hook something and something happens where the demon goes behind cover and that disengages your meat hook, or you end up falling, or something ends up hitting you and that causes your movement trajectory to just alter completely. But yeah, the knockback system, it's a shitty teacher, but a necessary evil, I guess. I can't think of anything else that would be better than that in terms of damage feedback and promoting you to approach fights a little differently. You know, you don't want to be constantly being knocked back like a goddamn pinball. But speaking of damage feedback, we're gonna move on to saving grace in Ultra Nightmare, and that is the chainsaw. Ironically, one of the biggest complaints when Doom Eternal first dropped, oh, you have to use a chainsaw for your ammo. Oh, you can only chainsaw fodder demon. Why can't you chainsaw bigger demons without 3 charges? It's stupid. Well, funny enough, while it is true you have to basically chainsaw demons for replenishing your ammo, you don't have to do it every 3 seconds. I'm sure the majority of us did it on our first run, but second, third, fourth time around, you come to find out, A, you don't even have to do that. How? I beat the entire game without chainsawing once. And B, the chainsaw by itself has to be one of the greatest additions to Doom Eternal, right next to the meat hook. In terms of fundamentals, positioning, and overall tactics, how you're approaching and trying to regain your footing in every single fight. Because as I'm sure the majority of us know by now, when you chainsaw a demon, you're invulnerable during that period of time. During that entire animation, it gives you a chance to not only take a moment to catch your breath and process what's going on around you, but also it gives you an opportunity to survey the area behind the demon. Maybe other demons are repositioning. What are the type of demons that are behind me? How are they going to react, move, or what are their attack patterns going to be when this animation ends? In my Ultra Nightmare guides, I always promote dashing as soon as these animations end, so that way you have a little bit of an escape route. That in combination with pulling out the shield mod for the chain gun, and you're almost always going to guarantee yourself a free escape route, provided you're not cornering yourself into another horde of demons, or obviously a wall. But this alone, I think, is one of the best additions. It's something that has been incorporated into almost everybody's playstyle, whether if you acknowledge it or not, or hell, whether if you take advantage of it like that or not. It's one of those things that no one really ever talks about too, since it hits that second nature style of your gameplay, so no one really touches on it. But moving into the second to last point, the ice bomb. This is something that I have never touched for the first 9 months of this game. It wasn't until the Super Gore Nest Master Level dropped that I started incorporating it into my normal playstyle, and it wasn't until after I started really taking advantage of the quote-unquote infinite blood punch that's in the game, which basically, to make a long story short, the way you utilize something like that is, with all of the Sentinel crystals acquired and your ice bomb completely maxed out, you're relying on excess armor and health pool drops, along with the punch and reeve room to constantly feed the cooldown on your blood punch, or the refill rate of your blood punch, more like it. So by running around an arena, dropping the ice bomb, hitting them with the flame belch, and then constantly blood punching, you'll kill everything and end that fight with excess blood punch. Or even if you end up running dry on your blood punch charges, all you gotta do is run around with your maxed out meat hook or flame belch shit, super shotgun them or drop a grenade, and let that extra armor feed you. And just an example of how crazy this shit is, I didn't record the whole thing because I didn't think it was possible, but it really is. I beat the entire Blood Swamps level with just the blood punch, but I recorded the entire bubble section to kind of give you guys an example of how crazy this shit is. I beat the whole thing just blood punching. And fun fact, killing the Marauder with just blood punches, it requires 7 to get him to that stagger state. In DLC or not, by the time you run into Marauders in the campaign, Fodder Demon are so abundant that you can just keep filling your blood punch, so it doesn't matter whether if you're playing on DLC or not. 7 blood punch hits to get him to stagger. In a weird roundabout way, that's what got me to appreciate the ice bomb. I never liked it in terms of stopping demons, but in a weird way I like it because it feeds my blood punch addiction. Too bad blood punch is still kind of wonky right now. But to wrap this up, the very last point being demon positioning, or demon utilization, however you want to put it. Throughout the entire campaign, there's a lot of demons that are underutilized or put in areas that they really shouldn't be in. Tyrants being prime examples are pretty much laughing stocks throughout the base campaign. Carcasses in the base campaign I feel like are horribly underutilized. In the Ancient Gods Part 1, carcasses are every fucking where. There's a part in the DLC where you're locked down in a tunnel in a small room with just a tyrant. Revenants really aren't seen as big threats, but in the Super Gore Nest Master level, you have a section where you have like 3 or 4 defending a ledge, and that's something you don't think about until you come across. That's probably one of the best examples of Revenants being used very well. The other one I can really think of on the top of my head is, again, in the Super Gore Nest Master level, where you're clearing out that Carcass Tentacle room, and then on the very last stage you have 3 or 4 Hell Knights spawn. Right here in this gameplay, you can see how all the carcasses that are alive are just making it their life's mission to save all the Hell Knights that are on the verge of dying. Or even a couple seconds ago, you watched them save their fellow carcass. It's gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What do you think are some things that are underappreciated? Anything besides the weak point systems? I think on the contrary, people can't appraise that enough. But like always, guys, my name is Cynic. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys haven't joined the Discord yet, link to that is down in the description. About 90% of the time I am active in it, but lately I've been caught up in some other personal issues, but I still hope to see you there. But until next time, I'll see y'all later.